now after the erythrocytic schizogony is done, we are going to study about the gammogony. So as the term is saying gammo means gametes, right? So in this particular gammogony, we are going to study how the gametes are being formed, right? So what is gammogony? Previously also I've already mentioned that gammogony is the process which starts in human, right? It starts in human. You can see here it's starting in human and it is ending up in the mosquito, right? And this is the only phase with sexual reproduction. In case of the erythrocytic schizogony, once the RBC has been ruptured and the merozoites are in the blood plasma. So up to this stage, we had done with the schizogony. Once these merozoites, they are entering into, now this is the basic process, see, the merozoites, they are entering into the RBCs. And then again, they are going to form the trophozoite and accordingly, the fever is going to come and the erythrocytic schizogony is going to get completed. You know, the erythrocytic schizogony, when erythrocytic schizogony is taking place, so what is happening there? There is increase in the number of parasites. So this is the very important thing of the erythrocytic schizogony, increase in the number of parasites. Now after some time, what is going to happen in the patient? These number of parasites, they are going to become very much numerous. They are going to become numerous in the host. And when these parasites, they become numerous in the host, in the man, they are going to damage the RBCs. And now you can see the amount of damage that is going to occur in the RBCs. So basically we can also say rupturing of RBCs. So if this mechanism continues of damaging and rupturing of RBC, there's a probability that the host will die, right? So the host is the human being. So he or she is going to die. So now what happened, just to, this is basically a defense mechanism, or we can say this is something which has been planned by nature. So what happens in order to compensate this condition where the host doesn't die, because what happens if the host dies, it is directly related that the parasites are going to die. So it is basically correlated. If the host is going to die, the parasites which are in the host, they are also going to die. So as to avoid this situation, what happens? These parasites, rather than becoming into a trophozoite, right? Normally we know that they enter into the RBCs and they become the trophozoite and then the signature stage, amoeboid, hemozoid, the rosette stage and so on. So rather than forming the trophozoite stage, coming into the schizon, it forms the rounded structure and we call those structures as the gametocytes, right? So initially, when we talk about the trophozoite, they're entering into the RBCs and then they are becoming a rounded structure, but this rounded structure is a schizont. We call it as the schizont, which grows on feeding, right? And the various stages we have already studied, so which occurs in the erythrocytic schizogony. But this is just to avoid the situation of that the person, that the host doesn't die. Once these parasites, the merozoites, they enter into the RBCs, now they are not going to become a schizont, they become the gametocyte. So how these gametocytes they look like? They look like a rounded structure, right? And these gametocytes are of two types. One is the male gametocyte, another one is the female gametocyte, right? So male gametocytes, they are comparatively, as generally we have studied, the male is smaller, right? So the male is smaller, whereas it is few in number, whereas the female is larger in size, right? So it is larger and it is numerous. So this, you can also have a comparative chart to it. And if we talk about their staining technique, basically we can say that how do they stain themselves. So basically there is cytoplasm here. In case of male, the cytoplasm stains in respect to the cytoplasm. So it stains faintly. Faintly. The reason behind it is that the males, they do not have much reserve food. Whereas in case of female, the cytoplasm stains very dark stain because of the presence of abundance of reserve food. So large reserve of food. Abundance reserve food is present in case of the female gametocyte. Another very important point here, in case of the female gametocyte and male, is regarding their nucleus position. In case of the male, you can see here it is towards the center, whereas if I just change it a bit, it comes towards one end. That is, we say that the nucleus here is eccentric. Eccentric means that it is not exactly in the center but towards the other end. So here with respect to the nucleus. So this is how you can differentiate between the male and the female gametocytes. Right. So up to here, the cycle is taking place in the humans. So these two are the stages which are going to be sucked up by the female anopheles, and if these stages are not sucked up by the female anopheles, they are going to die within the host because they cannot survive the higher temperature that humans have. So they survive well in the mosquitoes, female mosquitoes, because they have a lower temperature. Basically, that is the requirement of the body. Low temperature is required for their fulfillment. So the next stage comes where the infection to mosquito occurs. So the next stage is infection to mosquito. So as previously also I told you that infection of mosquito, it is going to be with the help of these gametocytes. And if the mosquito doesn't suck up the blood of the infected host, of the infected human being, these gametocytes are going to go waste, right? And the life cycle will not be completed, right? So now if the mosquitoes have sucked the blood, so when they have sucked the blood of the human, there are going to be, along with the gametocytes, there are going to be certain trophozoite stages also, right? So it is not only that only the gametocytes are sucked, because they don't know themselves what they are sucking. So gametocytes are sucked as well as the trophozoites are sucked. So both are sucked. But if we talk about their survival rate, the trophozoites, they cannot survive in the host, in the mosquito, female mosquito. So yes, they are sucked up with the blood, but they cannot survive in the gut region of female anopheles. So they go off. Whereas the gametocytes, they pass through their gut region. It passes from their mouth to the esophagus, and finally they come up to the stomach. So these, as you can see, that they have a covering around themselves. So basically, from their mouth up to their esophagus region, they are resistant, right? So the wall doesn't get digested. But in the stomach region of the mosquito, this covering gets dissolved by the digestive juices which are present in the gut region. So these gametocytes, now they are left only with the gamete, right? So this is basically, they are going to be free of the corpuscle. So this was the lining of the corpuscle, RBC ka covering, right? And now in the stomach, it is going to be free of corpuscle in the stomach region. So as previously also I have mentioned regarding their low temperature, and it is because of the low temperature of the host of the mosquito that these gametocytes can survive here, right? Okay, next I talk about how the development of gametocytes, they change into gametes. So how gametocytes, so this is the same interesting mechanism that we had studied previously also during the schizophrenia part, how the gametocytes are going to get converted into gametes. So the two processes we are going to study here, one is the gametogenesis, and another one is the fertilization. Right, so as the term says, gametogenesis. So gametogenesis, it is going to be the formation of either male or female gametes. And again, we can say here that the gametes formed here are heterogametes. The reason being because they are dissimilar. I've already differentiated the reason behind that. So they are heterogametes because they differ from one another. Now, how exactly formation of male gametes take place? Formation of male gamete. If I talk about a microgametocyte, right, now which is already free of the corpuscle, right, so it is free of the corpuscle and it has a nucleus in the center with the cytoplasm, right. So now this microgametocyte, we call it as the microgametocyte. This microgametocyte, it is going to produce male gametes, and these male gametes corresponds to the spermatozoas. Now, how these spermatozoas are formed, this is by the same procedure that we had studied during the process of schizophrenia, where the nucleus, you can see this nucleus, this is the nucleus here. So now this nucleus is going to divide. Now why, when this nucleus is going to divide, it is going to divide into around 4 to 8 daughter nuclei. And now these nuclei, each nuclei, because this is the nuclei, this nuclei is going to be with a bit of cytoplasm. So this is the cytoplasm and this is the nuclei, right? So we said that there are around 8 daughter nuclei. So accordingly, 8 spermatozoas are going to be formed. So you can see this nuclei is getting nourishment from the cytoplasm and it forms the next stage, which we call as the sperm. Right. So basically, we can also call it as a sperm. We can also call it as a spermatozoa. We can also call it as the now we are not going to call it as a male gamete. Okay. So it is corresponding to sperm because its appearance is going to change and it is going to become with the lashing movement. Right. So it's going to be like this and it is going to have that flagella-like motion where it is going to be in search of the ova. Right. And the male gametes, when we talk about the cytoplasm, which is there in the microgametocyte, all the cytoplasm is not going to be utilized by the nuclei. As we've mentioned that nuclei uses some cytoplasm, but there is some amount of cytoplasm which is left. So we call that leftover cytoplasm as the residual cytoplasm. So this residual cytoplasm, or we can also call it as the unused cytoplasm, which have hematin within it. Okay? So hematin is nothing but that the hemoglobin portion which was not digested. Okay? So this is regarding the formation of male gamete, formation of a spermatozoa. Right. Next we talk about, so it is formation of male gamete. Next we have formation of female gamete. Formation of female gamete. The process remains same here again. I talk about the macrogametocyte. Okay, so this is the macro. The nucleus is a bit eccentric, and we call it as the macrogametocyte. So the same process as we had discussed in the male gamete. This nuclei is going to divide, right? And when it divides into two portions, right? Here in the previous one we discussed, it divides into 4 to 8 daughter nuclei, but here only into 2 parts. So one is the broader one and one is a little lesser to it. Okay? So again it has that cytoplasm along with it. So the larger one, the larger nuclei which you can see here, larger nuclei with the cytoplasm forms the ova, whereas the smaller one with the cytoplasm forms the polar body. So how it appears to be like? It appears to be like this. This is the ova, right? And here it is the polar body. So this is the polar body and this is the ova. This is one case where how female gametes are formed. And if I talk about the male gametocyte, you can see the sperm here. And in the center, there is going to be this residual cytoplasm which contains hematid. So you can see here the process known as exflagellation occurs. So it is like this basically. With the cytoplasm, they are attached with the unused cytoplasm. So here there are around 4 to 8 sperms. Right, depending, sometimes it is 4 to 8. So basically it is a variant thing. So this is how your female gametes are formed and male gametes are formed. So we are done with the one process under how the development of gametocytes takes place, that is the gametogenesis. Next, we talk about the fertilization. So fertilization is the process where the female gamete and the male gamete are going to fuse together. So before this process starts of fusion, the female gametocyte, it develops a cone of reception, right? So this cone of reception is a place where it is going to receive the sperm, right? So we call this projection. It appears to be like somewhat like this. This is an ova. So it has this cone of reception. So this is basically cone of reception. Now in one ova at a time, one sperm is going to penetrate through this cone. And now as the normal process undergoes, the nuclei and the cytoplasm of male and female gamete are going to fuse and they are going to form a zygote. So this nuclei and cytoplasm of the two gametes, when they fuse together, it forms a single cell which is 2x. We call it as the zygote. We also call this process as the syngamy. So this is one process which has occurred in the mosquito. Another process which occurs in mosquito is the encystment. After the zygote has been formed, the next process which this zygote is going to undergo, that is the encystment. So what do you understand by the term encystment? Encystment means that there is going to be a covering of cyst wall around the zygote. Cyst wall around the zygote. Now if you can see here, the zygote, it doesn't have any flagella or flagella-like appearance somewhere, or neither it is sickle shape as we had discussed in sporozoites or merozoites. So it is something rounded in shape. So basically the zygote is motionless, right? It doesn't have any locomotory organelle, we can say. Now it's soon, the next step after it, it soon becomes elongated. It soon becomes elongated, and then when it becomes elongated, it again, how does it elongate? The same process, the nuclei, it again divides and then it forms the next stage known as the ookinete. So this ookinete, the zygote has elongated itself and it appears like a worm-like structure. We call it as the ookinete. This ookinete, as you can see, it is pointed at both the ends. So this ookinete has the potential to penetrate the wall of the stomach of mosquito. So this has the ability of piercing the wall of stomach. And whose stomach? It is mosquito's stomach. Right. The other name to ookinete, this can also be as a part of important MCQ. Ookinete is also known as the vermicule, right? So now this ookinete is going to pierce the wall of the stomach, and where it is going to rest? It is going to rest on the outermost layer of the stomach, where it is going to assume, for example, see this diagram here. This is the ookinete. Right? And now it is penetrating the wall of the stomach and it has formed this cyst wall, a rounded body, and a cyst wall is there around it, and the ookinete has been transformed into another structure that is known as the oocyst, right? So this oocyst is covering the cyst wall. So now you can see how the ookinete has pierced the stomach wall and it has become a rounded structure covered by the cyst wall. So when it it penetrates the outermost layer, it becomes the oocyst, and this oocyst is going to be covered by the cyst wall. And how this basically cyst wall is formed here, the cyst wall is derived partly from the zygote and partly from the insect tissue. So this is how the cyst wall is formed. So it is partly from the zygote and partly from the tissues. Now at this particular stage, we call this parasite as the oocyst, or the other name to oocyst is sporon. Right? So these are the other names. It can also be asked in case of your MCQs that way. Now, if we talk about how many oocysts are formed in one, or how many oocysts are you going to visualize in the stomach of one mosquito? So they are around 50 oocysts in the stomach wall of the mosquito. Up to this process, where the oocyst was formed with the cyst wall penetrating the walls of the stomach. So here the oocyst is formed. Up to this stage, the process is known as the gamogon.